Just 4 days ago, Democrats were feeling very uncertain about President Joe Biden's chances of retaining the White House. But now, with him out of the 2024 race, the mood has shifted 180 degrees. Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand joining us now to tell us how Vice President Kamala Harris is tapping into the new momentum. Jory.
Mark, at this point, it's like a snowball picking up speed. Vice President Kamala Harris has set fundraising records in the 2.5 days since President Biden dropped out. Her candidacy has unleashed years of pent-up emotion in an electorate that has watched a twice-impeached, convicted felon former president's resurgence to the top of the polls, and where once there was a sense of dread and inevitability, now there's hope and life in the Democratic Party. Vice President Kamala Harris in the battleground state of Wisconsin today, her first campaign rally since becoming the presumptive Democratic nominee. Harris riding the wave of unprecedented excitement that has exploded since President Biden dropped out of the race just 2 days ago.
So, Wisconsin, I am told as of this morning that we have earned the support of enough delegates to secure the Democratic nomination.
She's also raised more than $100 million and picked up the endorsement of Democratic leadership.
We are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris.
There is officially a buzz. This print shop in the swing state of Arizona has been inundated with orders for shirts and lawn signs. As Republicans have watched both the momentum and the narrative slip away, they're doing what they can to stop the bleeding. The Trump campaign filed a complaint with the Federal Elections Commission trying to stop the money the Biden campaign raised from going to the Harris campaign. Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles, who has a history of lying about his own campaign financing, has introduced articles of impeachment against the vice president, charging a willful refusal to uphold immigration laws and a breach of public trust. And while Republicans continue to call Vice President Harris a diversity hire undeserving of the job,
100%, she was a DEI hire.
Former President Trump raised some eyebrows on a campaign phone call with comments like this.
There was nobody nastier than her. She played the race card at a level that you rarely see.
House Speaker Mike Johnson had to tell Republicans at a closed-door meeting to stop mentioning race when going after the new presumptive Democratic nominee.
This is not personal with regard to Kamala Harris, and her ethnicity or her gender have nothing to do with this whatsoever. This is about who can deliver for the American people.
Back in Washington, President Biden, suddenly freed from campaigning and now free of COVID, returned to the White House, where he's set to address the nation tomorrow about his decision to drop out of the race. Vice President Harris still needs to pick up a running mate. The campaign today requesting vetting materials from 5 people, 4 governors and a senator. We will likely see a decision made within a week.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel. And download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.